In 1973, a secret meeting rewrote the rules of the global economy. While nations were drowning in chaos, American negotiators quietly struck a deal that would grant the United States unprecedented control over the world's financial system for decades to come. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this agreement still shapes your life today. The petrodollar system is the invisible architecture that underpins modern global finance. It's the reason why the US dollar became the world's reserve currency and why America can run massive trade deficits without facing the economic consequences that would destroy any other nation. This secret agreement between the United States and Saudi Arabia created a financial empire where every country needs American dollars just to buy the oil that powers their economies. Yet despite its enormous impact on our daily lives, this deal remains largely absent from official history books. The year was 1973, and the world was in crisis. OPEC countries, led by Saudi Arabia, had imposed an oil embargo on nations supporting Israel in the Yom Kippur War. Oil prices quadrupled overnight, sending shockwaves through Western economies. Gas stations ran dry, inflation soared, and the global financial system teetered on the brink of collapse. But while most nations were scrambling to survive, American negotiators saw an opportunity. They understood that Saudi Arabia's position as the world's largest oil exporter gave it unprecedented leverage, but they also knew that the kingdom's survival depended on American military protection. What happened next would transform this crisis into the foundation of American economic dominance. The secret agreement was deceptively simple yet revolutionary. In exchange for American military protection and access to advanced weapons technology, Saudi Arabia agreed to price all its oil sales exclusively in US dollars. But the deal went further. Saudi Arabia would reinvest its massive oil profits back into US Treasury bonds, effectively financing America's growing budget deficits. This arrangement was never formalized in any public treaty, yet it became the cornerstone of the global financial system. The Saudis became America's silent partner in controlling world oil markets, while the US provided the military shield that kept the Saudi royal family in power. This quid pro quo created a dependency that would bind the two nations together for decades, regardless of their differences on human rights, terrorism, or regional politics. The genius of the petrodollar system was how it created artificial demand for US dollars on a global scale. Since every country needed oil to function, and oil could only be bought with dollars, nations were forced to maintain massive dollar reserves. This gave the United States what's known as exorbitant privilege, the ability to print money and run enormous trade deficits without facing the inflation and currency collapse that would destroy any other economy. The system essentially made every country in the world a creditor to the US government, as they all held treasury bonds purchased with their oil money. But this arrangement has always been fragile. Recent years have seen China, Russia, Iran, and other nations actively working to trade oil in their own currencies, threatening the entire structure. Military interventions in Iraq, Libya, and tensions with Iran have often been interpreted through the lens of protecting this system. The question now is whether the petrodollar empire can survive as the world increasingly challenges American financial hegemony. The petrodollar deal of 1974 created a financial system that has shaped global economics for half a century, giving the United States unprecedented economic power while binding the world to the dollar. This secret agreement transformed a crisis into an opportunity for American dominance, creating dependencies that still influence international relations today. Yet as more nations seek alternatives to dollar-denominated oil trade, the foundations of this system are being tested like never before. The real question is whether the world can afford to let this arrangement continue, or whether its collapse would trigger the economic chaos that was feared back in 1973. If this video revealed something you didn't know about how the world really works, leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you want to understand how secret financial systems shape our reality, check out our video on the hidden history of central banking.